Hello painters, it's Debbie from acrylicpouring.com and I'm back today for our latest YouTube challenge. So join us for our December pouring challenge. I've joined up with my usual awesome group of YouTube collaborators for acrylic pouring, and this time Nicky has given us our challenge. She has given us something very broad. She's provided this picture, which is, it did have the title on it, now the title's disappeared. I think it's called L'Oiseau or something like that. The bird. Oh, now it's upside down. I'm no good with technology. There we go. Can you see that? I think so. So it's like an Art Deco, Art Nouveau style print. A lovely turquoise background, red tree, a long, sensuous looking woman and a bird cage. And this is what we have. This is our inspiration. So how we use this for inspiration for our acrylic pour is entirely up to us. And until all of the pictures come in at the end, just like a couple of days before, we all have no idea what the other people in our group are doing. So we could all be doing the same. We could all be doing something completely different. But because my artistic talents are particularly lacking, I thought it would be interesting to see just how well I could try to take some elements of this painting and try to create them with simple pouring and painting techniques on a canvas of my own. So I'm going to be very much inspired by the actual layout. I'm going to try and create the beach, the ocean there, the background and the tree. The lady I think is maybe a little bit outside of my talents, but if I also have time, I'm going to try and put the bird cage on there as well. Look, I managed to zoom in. I've no idea how I even did that. Does that? Oh, there we go. It makes it small again. So first thing I'm going to do is I've actually got myself a canvas. Now, unfortunately, the image is rectangular and I only have square canvases for the time being. However, I've sketched out pretty much on here with a pencil what the layout I want to be. So I've got my the beach, the ocean, the background here, and then the tree which will come across. And the first thing I'm going to do is paint the turquoise background. And for this one, I've got a Deco Art turquoise blue. That's this one. So I'm just going to take it straight out of the bottle with a paintbrush and paint in this background, because I know some of the other colours that I want to use are transparent. So I'm not going to paint the whole thing, just the actual background where I want the turquoise to be. So I've prepared the background on my canvas with this nice turquoise colour. It's not quite the turquoise in the picture. Can you see that? It doesn't seem to pick it up very well. I think there's a lot of glare. I don't know, it doesn't show. Anyway, this is the painting, and if we look down at the bottom, try and zoom in, it has, I don't think you can see very well in the light. It has a sea and then like a sand area, and they're both solid like the background. They're kind of like a solid colour, but of course if I do that then I won't need to pour, I shall just be painting. So I thought I'm going to try and make the sea and sand part at the bottom a poured part, and I have mixed two colours. So this first one is an ultramarine blue, and I've mixed it also with silver and then some of this Artist Loft iridescent medium. It just makes it just that little bit lighter in colour and also very, very sparkly. And then this other one is mostly gold with some yellow ochre and also a little bit of the iridescent medium. And I've mixed them both with Floetrol and water. Neither have got any silicone in them because I don't want cells, I just want a flat kind of finish. And I am going to try and pour something here. So I've masked off with some masking tape. This is going to be my horizon line, and here is where I'm going to have the tree coming up. So I've masked it off, and I've also sealed the edges with some gloss medium just to try and prevent the paint from going underneath. So we will see what happens. I think I'm going to try and just put the paint on with my stick. So I don't want it too thick, so I don't want it kind of out of control, and then we will see what happens. So here's my blue for this gorgeous shimmery blue sea that we have, and I am going to tip about a little bit and allow the two to come together. Actually, I can probably pour a bit on there now and spread that around. Oh, that might be too much. Let's see. Like that, and kind of a curve. And then let's go with this golden mustard down at the bottom. I pour on a lot, I can spread it out hopefully with my stick, and then try and get a nice line where the two paints match up in like a smooth line. We will see. So far so good. I've got a lot there that I can continue to keep spreading across. It does look nice with the gold and the iridescent medium. So hopefully that will still continue to show when it dries. Let's see. Just a little bit here where the two are going to come together. Okay, so I've got plenty of paint, so what I'm going to do afterwards is obviously paint the sides and the bottom. But I just want to move these a little bit now, kind of backwards and forwards a little bit, so that we get the nice, actually they're a little bit thick, they're not moving as much as I would probably like, but we'll get a little bit of movement in them. And I just want to break up that edge a little bit, so that I know in the painting it's obviously very strong, just kind of flat, bold colours. But I think it would look nice to just kind of move them around a little bit together. And then it gives, you know, more of a natural edge where the two paints are moving together. So I think that's probably all I need to do. It looks good. I've not overdone it with the paint, so they're not moving too fast. What do you think? Does that look like? Yeah, that looks okay. It's kind of organic and natural. And then when I take this off, I should obviously get that that smooth line there. So I'm just going to leave these to dry for a little bit. I don't want it to dry completely because I still want to be able to hopefully take off this masking tape while the paint is a little bit tacky. So I'm going to get my brush now and just fill in on the edges with the yellow and the blue. And then we'll come back and start work on our next steps. So the sea and the beach are done and dried, and they're looking very nice and sparkly because of the iridescent medium and the sparkly bits in the paint there. So the next thing for me to do is to work on this tree trunk. And if we have a look at the picture, I've just, oh come on. I'm so hopeless with technology. There we go. If we look at the picture, I've just zoomed in here on the tree trunk, and as you can see, it's got like a honeycomb pattern. And I thought I would try and replicate that with a swipe. So what I'm going to do is use a white paint for the most part of the trunk, then a red down the side, and swipe the red over to try and make a honeycomb kind of pattern. So we will see what happens with that. I'm just going to put a very thin line of red down here. It will be the edge of my tree trunk. Oh, I need to make sure it touches the blue, and will be what I swipe over the white. So there's just a little bit of the red, and then I'm going to fill in with the white, and I'll take care of the edge afterwards. So I just need to make sure that that goes up close to that red there. And now let's give it a go. I only want really the barest of swipes to make sure that I don't completely cover the white with the red paint. So let's see how we get on. I'll start down at the bottom. Make sure my knife is clean. I'm just going to try and touch the edge of that red and drag it over the white. Oh, too much. It needs a very light touch, obviously. Let's see what I can do. Just with the tip. Oh, it's hard. I like to swipe, but this is really difficult. Put a bit more white there, so I get it touching the red. Because I really don't want the whole thing to be red by swiping it too much. You see here, I've got more red than I was kind of going for, but let's keep going. I don't have a smaller tool, otherwise I would try something smaller. So let's try and go nice and light with it. Oh, okay, that one was a bit better. And there. Okay, so I'm going to do it right on an angle and just get the slightest bit of red. too light. Now I've got it better. Okay. Oh, I should have started at the other end because now I want to put my hand in the part that I've already done. A bit more. Oh, there we go. Looking good. I might have to turn it around. Let's see. Swipe towards me. Let's see how that goes. Slightest bit of pressure. Okay, now it's doing better. I'm using the edge of the knife and that works out a little better now. Just draw it over the white. That looks good. Okay, that's the kind of look I was going for. Now I've got the hang of it. I probably should have practiced, but where would be the fun in that? You know, you don't want me to practice. You want to see the challenge, don't you? So let's zoom in. You can see a bit closer what I'm doing. There we go. Now I think you can see it a bit better. I've got this nice red edge, and by pulling it over the white, I'm getting that kind of honeycomb pattern that replicates the tree trunk. So I've got this last little bit to do. Very lightly over the top. So how's that looking? That looks pretty good. I just need to put a bit more red there, I think, where the paint's a bit thin, because I can see the line of the blue. Of course, all of these paints, a lot of them are pretty transparent. So I may end up with unexpected consequences and results, but I think so far that is looking exactly as I want it. Okay, so I need to be patient again and let this dry and come back to do, next I'm going to do the branches of the tree. So my tree is done and it has this lovely honeycomb effect on the tree trunk, which is similar to the effect in the painting that I was going for, so that is good. I now need to do the branches. So I've just taken a look at the photograph and basically with my pencil I've just traced on some faint lines just here on the canvas that more or less replicate where the branches are on the painting. And I'm going to do just very simply, I'm going to use the red paint and just make some little lines, and that's the only thing I need to do for this step, I think. So I don't even need for them to be super straight, because of course it's meant to look organic. So I'm just keeping the tip of the bottle just above the canvas and just letting it kind of run out a little bit. There we go, over my pencil line. And it's a little bit thicker up here at the trunk and just a little bit thinner at the end of the branches. Probably put a little bop just there. So let's do the same for this one. So far I'm really enjoying doing this painting because I don't have a lot of confidence in myself as an artist who could make things look like things. Do you know what I mean? I'm not very talented in terms of actually being able to draw something. So for me, even to have created this so far feels like a real achievement, and I'm really enjoying this project. So now I've just got my little pointy tool. I'm just going to try and pull this out a little bit. And as I pull the paint out, it just makes other little kind of twigs and branches off from the main branch. And I think that makes it look a little bit more realistic. And then of course, once this is dried, then I need to put on the leaves. So let's zoom in and I'll show you what the little twigs look like that I'm doing. So here we go, it's just an example of my little twigs. I don't know what you think about these, whether they're any good or not, but hey, you know, it makes it feel a little bit more organic to me, a little bit more natural, having these little twiggy things coming off the main branch like it might do if it was for real. So I don't mind adding a little bit of extra interest like that. And I think that looks pretty cool. So I'm going to do the same up on this other branch, just add a few more twiggy little bits, and then once it's dry I'll need to do the leaves, and that I think is where the fun or the disaster could start. So my next step in our video is to make these leaves. And if we zoom in, you can see they're kind of like a little cascade basically of leaves coming down off of the branches. So I've got my branches, I now need to add my leaves. And what I'm going to use, Ta-da! Spray can of air. Now the last time I used one of these to do a painting, I just could not stop laughing, but I soon stopped laughing when I realized that there was like paint everywhere, and it took me hours, if not weeks. Weeks later I was still finding paint splatters. So I'm going to use the Candair to try and make the cascading little sections of leaves here, but I want to do tiny, tiny little bits. I really cannot do huge amounts of paint and have them going everywhere. So I'm going to turn it upside down and try and work by making the little cascades and then blowing them down towards the bottom. So let me get my red paint and we'll make a start. So I think a good place to start maybe is here, so that in the event it goes too terrible, I hopefully haven't made too much of a mess. So I've got my paint in the bottle all there, and what I want to do is create like a cascade, almost like a triangle shape. So if I put kind of 3 dots here, then those can be my lower layer. Oh, that was probably too big a drop. I only want the smallest of drops, because otherwise when I spread them with the paint it's going to go too far. So let's see. Oh, I'm nervous, I'm nervous, I don't want to press the trigger. Okay, because I like it so much so far. Right, here we go, okay. Oh, all right, that was good, okay. Okay, it's doing good. Look, oh, I've got so much control. Look at my little cascades of leaves, perfect, okay. I think we're going to be good. So let's do another little layer. Tiny blobs, just do a couple of little blobs and see how I get on. Yes, it's working, it's working. Okay, little blob, little blob. Oh, that was a big blob. Okay. A little bit that way. Oh, something gunky came out. Something gunky came out. I've got some kind of lump. Oh, you know what I think that is? I think it's ice. It is ice, I can feel it under my pick. Okay. So when the air blows out, obviously it's cold, and what it did was it froze the paint. Okay, there we go. And then just attach those to the branch, maybe just like one little blob either side. Okay, how does that look? Let's zoom you in and take a look. That's not too bad, right? I think that's pretty good, really, seeing that I don't have a lot of control with Candair. Okay, so let's get this tablet turned back on, and I will do a bit more. So now I'll concentrate a little bit down here, and I think I'll try and do the same again, that I'll put drops lower down and then work upwards so that the upper ones kind of go over the top of those. Oh, yeah, I blew it quite hard then, and it definitely went icy. That's interesting. I don't want too much ice in my paints. Oh, it's definitely going icy. I didn't have this when I did it before, so I'm not quite sure what to do. Maybe it's just because I'm overdoing it. I may need to do a few little puffs and then leave it to warm up a little bit. Okay, it still looks good. On there, a little bit. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good actually. Okay, another couple here. I don't want to do too much, just a couple of little small ones. That looks good. One more to join it to the branch. Ah, yes, genius. It's working beautifully. Or maybe I need a little bit more there. Right, just to join that to the branch. Well, I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised. I've been putting this off for a long time, putting this final layer with the trees, thinking it was all going to go horribly wrong, but it looks better than I expected, so I'm pretty happy with that so far. So let me go and do some of these up at the top branch too. Right, let me turn this around and take a look, and I'm going to compare this now to the full painting. Well, I have to say, I think this is the full painting. Obviously it's a bit more rectangular than mine is square, but I think that looks pretty damn good. I'm actually absolutely happy with that. So now I need to put this aside, put this Candair away, and probably vow never to use it again because it scares the living daylights out of me. And then the last thing I think I need to do is just fill in a little bit here, and that's probably a little bit of painting with a brush. Headland there, just with a kind of creamy sandy colour, and that's it, my painting is done. Now unfortunately I've run out of time a little bit because the video has to be up by tomorrow and I haven't finished. What I had intended to do was get a really fine black marker and do a bird cage in here to reflect obviously what we see in the main painting itself, but I wasn't able to get a nice fine black pen from my craft store. They only had the really thick paint markers, so I'm out of luck on that one. Anyway, I think in the end it looks really cool. I've very much obviously been inspired literally by what the painting looks like, and have used various different techniques, pouring, non-pouring, blowing and so on, swiping, in order to create my own version of that. So do check out all of the other paintings that our YouTube collaborators have come up with this month. I'm not able to tell you really much about what any of those are like because we always keep them a secret right until the very end, but I know with such a talented group of painters we're going to have a lot of interesting variety for you to check out. Thanks for taking part, and I hope you will use the hashtag and create your own version of this painting. See you soon.